guys, how are you doing? It's like 45-mile-an-hour winds today, so if you hear any weird creaking noises, I promise they're not coming from me. It's because I'm in a shed. The lovely sunshine that we had over the last couple of weeks has well and truly disappeared. Back to the standard Great British weather today. So in today's video, I am going to be trying to learn how to draw animals properly by working through this book, The Art of Animal Drawing by Ken Hultgren. Now he actually worked for Disney in the 40s and worked on Snow White and Bambi. And even though I mostly draw animals, I never really properly learnt how to do that. Like when I think back to my time at school, we never actually learnt how to draw people or animals or anatomy. For some reason, we just spent the whole time drawing screws and bolts and seashells. And I can't say that I've ever needed to draw those again in my adult life. That's why I want to really go back to basics, because I know over the years I've been winging it and probably developed loads of really bad habits. I'd love to be able to actually draw with confidence and understand the theories of how to draw. So here we are. So earlier this week, I started off by practicing some of his drawings that feature in the book, because I really wanted to get a feel for the lines and the shapes that he uses so that I could really understand his process. He basically breaks the forms down into sections, and he seems to put dividing lines through any symmetrical parts. He also talks about using a line of action, which is like a strong flowing kind of S-shaped line, or maybe a very angular line depending on the movement and the emotion of the animal. He also goes into some detail about the skeleton and the muscles, and also about perspective as well. I also decided to try drawing both on paper and on my tablet, because I often work digitally to create the illustrations for my books. But I have heard some say that digital art is kind of cheating, so I wanted to see if that's true. So I started off drawing a bunny from Ken's book using pencil to sketch out the composition and then fine liner. My drawing did annoyingly end up on one side of the page. I gave the bunny a slightly wonky eye and massive feet. Now, I could have easily fixed all of that on the tablet, but I have to say, I think I do prefer the feel of real pen and paper. I found with the tablet, the stylus sort of ice skates around on the smooth screen, so the lines never go where I want them to go. I do end up pressing undo a lot. I noticed the tablet also gets crazy hot as well, which is quite uncomfortable to work on. I was able to reposition the eye and create a base layer that I could remove at the end, which was helpful. It might have been a little bit quicker than using pen and paper, but I think this bunny was actually slightly simpler to draw, so I don't think there was that much in it. And I'd say that they both turned out quite similarly. So to test this idea out even further, I decided to draw the back end of a horse from Ken's book and asked my husband Elliot to draw the front end. I wanted to see if the tablet would help him draw like Ken Hultgren, or whether his drawing would end up looking more like that meme. Now, considering he's only drawn about 3 things in his entire life, it's really not that bad. But I don't think that either of us will be getting any job offers from Disney anytime soon. Sorry, Elliot. But as you may know, Elle is actually a tech wizard, so he had an alternative solution to my challenge: AI. So the first one weirdly reminded me of myself when I need to sneeze. But the second one, well, maybe he will get that job after all. I mean, as long as they don't notice the random mouth move. I think we might have actually unintentionally created a 2025 version of that meme here. So what do you reckon? Is digital art cheating? Is AI? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Anyway, rather than just spending the whole video copying someone else's work, I wanted to go out and get some pictures of my own. So at the weekend, I went to a local farm place and tried to get some drawings and videos of the animals there. So here are my drawings. Now, bear in mind that while I was trying to draw these, I was also trying to somewhat supervise my child and juggle bags of carrots and seeds. The animals obviously kept moving. They didn't go great, but yes, here they are. I think probably the little lamb at the bottom went the best, because that was my last drawing, so sort of the practice was helping. You do learn really quickly by doing this. But also the lamb was lying still, it was just chilling in the field, so Because like these guys here, the crows, they were just like obviously flying away within an instant. So you had to just work from the snapshot, and yeah, I just kind of forgot what crows look like. But yes, I didn't have very much time to do that because mom life. So I also got some videos while I was there to work from today. So I shall quickly show you some of the footage. How cute were those little lambs and ducklings? We were really lucky with the weather that day. And I was actually really surprised by the alpacas. In the past, I've always been very wary of them because, I mean, it might be llamas, but you see videos of them like spitting at people and getting aggressive. But actually, these guys were like so chill and friendly, and I felt like the one that I gave the carrot to, he understood the assignment. I felt like they understood what we were saying, like they were really intelligent, and I never realised just how expressive they are. Like if I show you that bit again, he properly looks like a cartoon character. The way that his eyes and his mouth and his ears are just all going at the same time. I didn't notice the other animals' faces changing that much. But I think alpacas might actually be my new favourite hoofed animal. I think I might draw that guy first actually. So these are the materials that I am going to be using today. I've got some charcoal pencils, some grey paper, well it's kind of grey-green because I thought that would be a bit more springy than just grey, and these calligraphy brush pens. And I got these because I have actually been watching a guy called Aaron Blaise on YouTube, and he was also an animator at Disney. He worked on Beauty and the Beast, Brother Bear, and he actually drew the bear and the rabbit in the John Lewis Christmas advert. I'll link his channel down below because he's just epically talented, and he actually loves to use these exact pens. And he also recommends working on grey paper. And he actually uses like a white gel pen as well. So I think I've already got one of those. I'll grab one. There we go, I've got some. Because then you've got 3 different tones going on. And oh, I'm gonna have to sharpen them, look. So I'm gonna draw some of the animals from my videos, and then later, so that I can really get the experience of drawing a moving animal, I'm going to borrow my daughter's hamster, Speedy, because he needs to do some exercise in his ball anyway. So we might as well do it here, and I will try and draw him, but I will set a timer for 5 minutes because time has a tendency to warp when I'm drawing. Oh, as if by magic, a fresh brew. Okay, so I've got my reference photo on the screen there. So if I'm constantly like that, I'm looking at the llama. No, alpaca. And I've chosen one where it looks like he's doing kind of a cheeky grin. So, channel Ken HULTGREN. He would, can I see any leading lines? I mean, it's kind of like starting from the middle, and then its neck kind of leads up and then kind of swoops down to its nose. What shapes can I see? Its head is kind of an oval. I'm not as confident with my line work as Ken or Aaron. I would love to get to that point where I can just like throw lines down and they're just perfect. That's probably not big enough, actually. Let's go a little bit bigger. And then the neck is kind of, what's the word? Rectangle, a rectangle. And then its body is kind of another oval in the background. Peeks out slightly behind the rectangular neck. its hair is kind of another circle up here. So let's draw that. I don't know if you call it hair or if it's like a mane. I don't know, tuft. And then it's got an ear sticking out. And then now let's do, he often does a line down like the center and down the spine. So let's do that line. Let's just draw kind of like the shoulders are probably about there. So let's draw that. Belly is kind of like there. So where the eyes are, let's draw kind of a line across. This is not how I used to draw animals at all. I used to just kind of start on the eyes and then work my way out, kind of like a printer, just printing an image. I didn't really lay out my pictures like this properly first. I would just draw from the eyes out and hope for the best. And then its muzzle, would you call it? Snout is kind of another oval, but it's slightly, because it's kind of slightly jaunty, the way it's chewing. Its nose is kind of a triangle, and then it's got its mouth is kind of jaunty, rounded chin, rounded. Where its skull would be, I guess, is kind of like this. Up to the eyes. The other eye, you can hardly see it. It's just kind of peeking around the... I don't actually know, I should have looked up an alpaca skeleton before doing this so that I could have a bit of a better idea. I mean, I should think it's kind of similar to a horse. The nose, let's do the nostrils. They're kind of fuzzy though. Now the fur is going to be complicated to replicate. I've never actually drawn fuzzy fur. You'd have thought in all those pet portraits and stuff I'd have done, there would be fuzzy fur like that, but there just hasn't been. I think I'm just gonna kind of lay down a suggestion of it, because that sounds fancy and like I know what I'm talking about. Some bits are kind of curly and some bits are kind of straight. Their ears are so cute. I never really noticed how much they look kind of like a kangaroo, but with a wig on. It's just kangaroos with a wig on and hooves. They've actually got a weird, like, it's not a tooth, it's kind of the bone that shows where their like top front teeth would be. Because I kind of, if I'd have visualized them without seeing this picture, I would have thought that they'd had like teeth. Maybe that's llamas or just horses, but they actually don't have any teeth. And this is just this alpaca. Got a few teeth along the bottom. I might exaggerate that kind of smile a little bit, kind of caricature it slightly. It's always worth holding it up every so often, because when you're working on a table, the distortion, so I've just held it up and it's slightly leaning. So I'm going to try and fix that before I go over with pen. Why didn't you tell me, guys? I mean, he is leaning a little bit, but not that much. That's why it's better sometimes to actually work on an easel or something that's slightly kind of at 45 degrees. So I'm just going to hold it up and try and like fix it. Okay, I think that's straightened it up a bit. So I've laid down the groundwork, now onto the ink pens. The thing with ink pens is you cannot erase it. Once it's down, it's down. The eyes are the windows to the soul. So you want to get the eyes right. And then if everything else is a bit messy, you don't really notice. So I do usually, in my pet portraits and wildlife illustrations, I do work in fine liners, but these I think are actually better than the fine liners. So I might switch to these in the future. You want to really make sure you get every reflection in there, because that's what really makes it like the windows to the soul kind of thing. And that one is kind of just a suggestion. Okay, so I have finished those drawings and now I would like to introduce you to my little friend, Speedy. I'm gonna say hello to everybody. Oh, he's emptying his cheeks. Thanks, Speedy. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Apart from all of the cheek emptyings now in my hand. He must have been sleeping with all of that in his cheeks. He's such a sweet little guy. Oh, he's licking me. Are you ready to do some exercise when I draw you? So I've got his ball here in the pop, and it's got like a little stand thing so he can just keep running. He loves it. I'm gonna show everybody you're running. Yay. Okay. So I'm going to pop him here and I'm going to try and draw him as quickly as I can in 5 minutes. Okay, he's got poops in there. I don't know if I should just let his poops out. He's got so many in there. It's not nice to run around in your own poops, is it, Speedy? Let's just let them out. Yeah, just come out onto the page a second. Okay, that'll be better for you, won't it? There you go. Here's your little butt. Okay, so I've drawn the circle of the ball. He's pooped again. Poop machine. Okay, and then we got Speedy is about like this. Kind of he keeps changing direction. Turn around, Speedy. It's kind of hard to see him through the plastic. So he's got a line kind of going down his back. One little ear, two little ears, and his feet are just like a blur. Okay, he's cleaning himself a minute. Okay, your eyes are actually quite forward facing. It's all just a blur. I'm going for it, Speedy. Okay, that's my 5 minutes up. I think it's fair to say that I definitely need more practice at drawing animals in person. But I'm gonna put him back now because I could easily sit and draw him for another 20 minutes, but that would not be fair on Speedy. I'm gonna take him back. Go on then, show him you'd run. So, what did I think of all of the things? So the book I found honestly brilliant. It really goes back to basics and covers all of the things that for some reason they don't teach at school. It's full of beautiful illustrations throughout and also explanations of everything. It really helped with my drawings today. I think my favourite was actually the first one, the llama. I think because I actually really wanted to draw this one, I was like really looking forward to drawing this guy. Did I say llama again? I meant alpaca. And I really did enjoy using these pens. I like how it came out quite boldly, and with the white gel pen as well, it just really pops against the grey paper. I've never actually worked on grey paper before, but yeah, it makes quite a cool effect, and I will definitely be doing that again. Then there was the charcoal pencils. That one came out a little bit. I think the eyes are too facing forward, so it almost looks kind of like a human baby rather than a lamb. But the charcoal pencils are pretty good. You have to press down quite hard with them, almost like a pencil crayon, whereas if you were using just a stick of charcoal, you wouldn't need to. But it is also a lot less messy. They did need sharpening quite often. The leads kept breaking, but that could have just been down to how they were posted. So then I went back to the pens with watercolour, because Aaron had said that you can use watercolour after the pens and it doesn't run, and he was right. So that's quite similar to my own style anyway, but it's just the pen line is a lot thicker than I would usually use. Now I thought I would test out whether these pens run with alcohol markers as well. I drew some squiggles and did some alcohol marker over the top, and I can't see that it's actually smudged. Maybe a tiny bit there, but definitely not as much as it would have if it was the fine liners. Oh, I forgot about my drawing of Speedy. For some reason, he looks a bit more like a possum. Yeah, that was a challenge. So I'm definitely going to try and draw animals more often from real life rather than just reference photos, because it is a completely different kettle of fish. So that's about it for today. If you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful, don't forget to hit that like or share or subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you next week.